Hi there, welcome to the Toncoin Wyckoff analysis session. So we'll start with the weekly chart and then we'll go to the micro to the daily and see what's happening within Ton. So 2 weeks ago we put in this tag asking, hey, is the price heading towards a sign of strength? And by looking at the level, I would give it a yes. So we'll take out this question mark. And normally, because Ton is pretty new, and we don't have a longer reference over there. If you look at my other sessions, you'll notice that after a sign of strength, it's pretty normal for price to retrace and enter another new test, or maybe end up just in the middle and build up for a leg or consolidation period before the new buying climax comes. So here, we see quite a bit of selling. The volume is more or less similar to what we had 2 weeks ago, and it seems is getting back to where there was some kind of equilibrium point back in 2 weeks ago. So we're at the level of the body of the candlesticks 2 weeks ago now. So this consolidation seems to continue, and given this backdrop, when I look at the current squeeze Bollinger Band, there is a squeeze currently going on, and interestingly the price is staying somewhere in the middle. So when the squeeze happens and the price is say at the top end or top half of the channel, like what we had back in December last year, the tendency is more for the price, very big price move to the other end of the channel. Now here we are seeing an interesting thing. The price seems to be just crossing the center line. So it depends on how the price consolidates. If it happens to continue to consolidate at the top half, basically between this purple line and this orange line, I guess it may come back for a bit, but there's little room over here because the bottom is just very close. So while it may come down for another test, it won't be too crazy, hopefully, because the selling climax is right there at $2.65 and we're at $3.30 already. If this price really comes down, the squeeze, I guess, would continue, and that's when we have potentially another leg upward, at least to challenge the automatic rally point. So that's somewhere around $3.90. So from a macro perspective, while we're I'm seeing it some like horizontal trading to continue. It's building up momentum for the next distribution cycle or the next buying climax, because we're doing this session for Ton like every 2 weeks. So there is a chance for the price to come challenge the top end already by the time we come to the next session. So having said that, let's take a look at the daily as well. So 2 weeks ago we put in these tags. I can remove this question mark over here. I consider all those sign of strengths already marked, and we already talked about, let me take out this Bollinger Band corner for a while. We already talked about normal retracements from the selling climax, and so here we see these kind of higher selling bars and low in green. So here, one thing is, like, when I look at this, it seems like, okay, previously when like 4 days ago, when the price got to that level, there were quite a bit of selling over here. You see all the long wicks at the top of the candlesticks. For 5 consecutive days, people have been selling around that level. That level was actually, I would say, short-term activities going on, because if we draw a line over here, you see why when we get to that level there are quite some selling, because back in May, late May, we had our sign of strength at that level, and then back in here during March, we had a consolidation period over there, and maybe quite some people bought Toncoin at that range in March, early April, and when the price drop came, they were sat there sitting on high price Toncoins. That's why when it got to that level, some of the people that entered over there might have sold, much like this range as well. So that's this dashed line over here at around $3.70 is quite a resistance. But if a whale or some whales are consolidating at this point, like these people that got in over there, they sold whatever they have in hand to the whales, and when the momentum build up, that's when we can see the next distribution cycle happens, that the next price surge to a high point, at least towards the white line at around $4.80. The bullish thinking would be at least challenge the automatic rally of the accumulation back in September 2024. That's a level at around $6. Crazier thinking would be $7. That's when the buying climax back in December last year as well as August last year. So those two are much harder to reach. White is the baseline expectation. This over here, the AR level at around $6 is a more positive thinking. So 3 levels of positivity for Toncoin. Here, just quickly check the corner squeeze as well. So as of this moment, a squeeze is going on, and previously it was at the upper half when the squeeze started. So that's why we have this kind of downward action, and now that it's somewhere in the middle, much like here when the squeeze happened, it traveled along the lower edge and consolidated for about a week before this price surge happened, that lasted for like 15 to 20 days. So from this point to this high point over here, that's 14 days in total. But starting from the squeeze to the start of the price surge, that took 7 days. So right now we are just 2 days in. So in the next few days, all the way to maybe the weekend or early next week, there may be some more consolidation horizontally, but a leg upward may happen. It depends on where it consolidates, right? If it consolidates at the lower half of the channel, like I said, the tendency towards the upside would be higher if that's the case. If the consolidations crosses the center and it's done around the upper half, then the downward action may be more likely. So it's a tricky situation now for Toncoin. While we are saying it may be near the end of an accumulation, do not expect that there won't be more tests. So it can still happen. So this is more like a conservative thinking that a test may still happen. More positive thinking is this is heading towards the backup and last point of support period. That means it's getting close to the new distribution cycle, that's like where the new buying climax would go next after this stage. So 2 different scenarios. By next time in 2 weeks when we come back to Toncoin,